All right, Hawks, welcome back again. Today we're going to talk about the array block. And the biggest thing about the array block drawing is how to use a command called array, which we can see up here. And there are three different options, okay? So depending on how you want to create, it's not just the array command, it's also how to do a polygon, which we'll see right here, okay? So let's start with this. We got down here and we see that there is a circle whose diameter is 1.5 and circumscribed around the outside of the circle is a polygon, okay? So let's start by drawing a circle. So let me get on the right layer and I'm going to draw a circle. Let's draw it out here and I'll do a D and enter for diameter. And it's going to be 1.5 and hit enter. Okay, so there's my 1.5 inch diameter circle, just for reference. 1.5 inch diameter. Okay, now, first thing we would need to do is understand how this polygon command works. So, up at the top, we have in the drop down for rectangle, we have the option for a polygon. So you'll see the default setting, polygon, enter the number of sides. Well, in this case, we're looking to replicate a 6-sided polygon. So I'm gonna type in 6 and I'm gonna hit enter. Okay, and now it says, where's the center of your polygon? Or we can select an edge. In this case, we want to use the center. So I'm gonna select the center of my circle. Okay. And now it wants to know whether it is inscribed or circumscribed. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Let's start with the inscribed circle. Remember, that's kind of like on the inside, inscribed inside of the circle. So if I do an inside or an inscribed circle, the big thing here is I want to find the inside edge of my circle. So here's the challenge, Hawks. I have no reference point for the center of this circle, okay? So maybe I get a little too far ahead of myself. Maybe what I need to do very quickly is go get the annotate and get a center mark, put a center mark in. Okay, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 intersection points. So let's go back to that polygon. 6 is there, so I'm gonna enter, specify the center right there. We're gonna do inscribed again. And now, if I use one of those intersection points, you'll see that I am able to create an inscribed circle, okay? Or an inscribed polygon based on the size of that circle. So the important part here is the distance to the points of the polygon, okay, is 1.5 inches. We go back and we do another 6-sided polygon and we do the same center point. And this time we do a circumscribed, the same concept here. I'm going to go to the intersection point and left click to place that. And so the difference is the inscribed, the distance from the points or across here is 1.5 inches. Whereas on the circumscribed, the distance from the center of the faces is 1.5 inches. So it's important to understand which one you are looking to do, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and delete that center mark because we don't need it right now, let's say. You know, I'm sorry, I'll leave it in. I'm gonna change the layer. I went too fast. All right, now I know we've got too much information here. Let's get rid of the inscribed polygon, and this is what you're being asked to replicate other than the orientation on the polygon. So we have the option, if we needed to have the polygon rotated, maybe the way we placed it, we weren't paying attention. We'll talk about the rotate command, because I don't believe we've done that yet. So right up here under modify, we have the option for rotate. So if I select the rotate command, first thing it asks me is, well, what do you want to rotate? Well, I want to rotate this polygon. So I'm going to select it, And when I'm done selecting, I'm going to right click on my mouse or hit enter. Then it wants to know where you're going to rotate it from. I'm going to rotate it around the center of the circle. So I'm going to select that. And now I can either, in this case, I've got my ortho on, so it's limiting me to 90-degree rotations. If I turn off my ortho, I can get all kinds of options. Or I could come in and I should be able to specify an angle. Let's say I do 90 and I type in 90 and hit enter. That didn't change that. Why did it not change? No, sorry, it did. Let's undo. Yep, okay. So a couple different ways we can use the rotate command. We can give it a specific angle. We can use the ortho command to help us, or we can turn ortho off and get the rotation that we're looking for, which may or may not be quite as accurate as using the actual angle input. All right, so we talked about inscribed and circumscribed polygons. We've got the rotate command. Last but not least, for this particular drawing, we will need to use the array command. And you'll see that there are a couple options for the array command. In this particular option, we are going to be doing what's known as a rectangular array. Okay, so I'm going to select a rectangular array, and let's go take a look at something real quick. In our example, we'll see that we have 3-inch distance vertical and 3-inch distance horizontal. And that will be important for us to know. So in this array, it wants to know what we want to array. Well, you could certainly array the circle. You could certainly array the polygon. You could certainly array the center mark. And if we're playing our cards right, we can select them all at the same time. Okay. Oh. And now you'll see this giving us an example pattern. So the first point that I want to worry about is the spacing. So let's go and hit spacing. Okay, and right now it is 2.61, which is not what I want. I wanted 3. So I'm going to type in 3. You'll see it space that out in one option. Okay, and that was a column spacing. So that was the vertical spacing, or technically the side to side. And now I want to do the distance between rows, which should be the vertical spacing. I'll make that 3. And we'll see we get a particular amount of spacing. We then also have options for columns and rows. So if I click columns, it wants to know what is the number of columns. Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3, and it's currently at 4. So in this case, I want 3. I'm going to hit enter. You'll see it got rid of a column. Okay, and we still have the distance between columns, which we still want it to be 3. So I'm going to hit enter. And now I've got the option to do rows. Again, same thing. How many of them do you want? How many rows? And it is currently at 3. So I'm going to hit enter. And you'll see here that I can also specify the distance between. We still want that to be 3. So I'll hit enter again. Okay. And the increment elevation between rows, we're going to leave that at 0. Okay. And basically we have the option to change the spacing of both the columns and the rows within those two commands, or we can control the spacing altogether. And since I am done with this array, aside from what's in the command prompt, you may also have noticed that we have a number of different options up here in the top menu area, where I could have specified columns right here and the space between them, and we can adjust those as necessary. Maybe a little bit more intuitively with this interface here, we also have those options to specifically go into the command prompt and do them there. Big thing there is when you're done, make sure you hit close the array, and you'll notice that these are all one piece. Okay, if I select or I highlight or hover over any of these individual pieces, it's seeing them all as as one item. Sometimes that can be problematic. There may be other instances where that becomes problematic. And so there's one more command we're going to talk about today. It's called the explode command. It used to be a little firecracker. It is now this kind of rectangle that looks like it's kind of being spread apart. So sometimes when we explode things, for instance, maybe this square is all one piece. You'll see when I hover over it, it's seeing it as a polyline. Okay, so that rectangle was made with the rectangle command as opposed to drawing all four sides individually with lines. If I wanted to explode that rectangle, all I do is I go into the explode command and I select the object and I hit enter or right click. You'll now see that those lines are individuals. Now when it comes to an array or other things that we may create in AutoCAD, sometimes when we use the explode command, it might not work out the way we want it to. If I try to explode this array, I am now looking at individual pieces, okay? And that may be what you're looking to do. Now I could actually come in here and go, you know what, I didn't need that one, and I didn't need that one, right? So I can get a varied output of my array. Sometimes, depending upon what you're exploding, the effects of that explode command can be undesirable. So just be aware of that. You can always undo anything in AutoCAD, especially if you just did that command and you didn't like the way it turned out. You can always undo. All right, Hawks? So we talked about how to draw polygons, how to rotate things with the rotate command. We talked about the array command, specifically a rectangular array, okay? And we talked about the explode command. Hope you enjoyed that short video and it's helpful, and we'll catch you on the next one.